Listening to the Fringianity Underground podcast. Fringe topics with a Christian point of view. Now here's your host, Leo Rutledge.
On today's episode, I want to analyze how America is really falling to a corrupt government, and the people who are running it are really pushing an agenda for the United Nations and world government policies, not policies made for the people, by the people of America. It's basically the beginning of sorrows, as talked about in the Bible. And I guess you'll kind of see what I mean as the podcast progresses. So with that, let's begin the show.
The church in America is going to suffer so terribly. And we laugh now, but they will come after us. They will come after our children. They will close the net around us while we are playing soccer mom and soccer dad, while we are arguing over so many little things and mesmerized by so many trinkets. The net even now is closing around you and your children and your grandchildren, and it does not cause you to fear. You will be isolated from society, as has already happened. Anyone who tries to run for office who actually believes the Bible will be considered a lunatic until finally we are silenced. We will be called things that we're not and persecuted not for being followers of Christ, but for being radical fundamentalists who do not know the true way of Christ, which of course is love and tolerance. You'll go down as the greatest bigots and haters of mankind in history. They've already come after your children, and for most of you, they got them. They got them through the public schools and indoctrination, and the university and indoctrination, and then you wonder why your children come out not serving the Lord. It's because you fed them right into the devil's mouth. So little by little, the net is closing around, and then it's not little by little. Look how fast things are going downhill just in a matter of weeks. Matter of weeks. But at the same time, know this: persecution is always meant for evil, but God always means it for good. And is it not better to suffer in this life, to have an extra weight of glory in heaven? You must settle this in your mind. This is the one thing I want to say over and over. Do not believe. Down through history, you have a wrong idea of martyrdom and persecution. You think that these men were persecuted and martyred for their sincere faith in Jesus Christ. That was the real reason, but no one heard that publicly. They were martyred, and they were persecuted as enemies of the state, as child molesters, as bigots, as narrow-minded, stupid people who had fallen for a ruse and can contribute nothing to society. Your suffering will not be noble. So your mind must be filled with the Word of God when all people persecute you and turn on you. And the Spirit of God in common grace pulls back, and you see even your children and your grandchildren tossing in the lot that you should die. This is no game. You want revival and awakening, but know this: for the most part, great awakenings have come only preceding great national catastrophes or the persecution of the church. I believe God is bringing a great awakening, but I believe that He is raising up young men who are strong in trust in the providence of God to be able to wade through the hell that's going to break loose on us. And it will be on us before we even recognize it. Unless in God's providence, He is not done. He is not done. Note, this is not silly talk. Apart from a great awakening, these things are going to come upon you. Be ready to lose your homes, your cars, everything.
Here's the lawless, criminal presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, in her own words.
I'm just curious how you would say that your beliefs align with the Ten Commandments, and if that's something that's important to you.
I am a person of faith. I am a Christian. But I do believe that in many areas, judgment should be left to God. That being more open, tolerant, and respectful of people who've had different life experiences is part of what makes me humble about my faith. I think you have to keep asking yourself, if you are a person of faith, what is expected of me, and am I actually acting the way that I should? And that starts in small ways and goes out in very large ones. As I have gotten older, I have decided we really need camps for adults. And we need the kind of camps that you all run. I mean, really, where, none of the serious stuff, none of the, life challenge stuff, more fun. I think we have a huge fun deficit in America. And we need to figure out how to fill that fun deficit, certainly for our kids, but also for the rest of us. We've become, in so many ways, a country that has slowly but surely figured out how to get along with more people from more backgrounds. But there are still differences that we need to get over. I said the other day at an event that, we're much less racist, sexist, homophobic, all of those things. But we sure don't want to spend time with anybody who we disagree with politically. I mean, that is just too stressful. So, maybe mix it up a little bit. You can have the red cabin, the blue cabin, have to come together and actually listen to each other. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? And sort of create this, much more open dialogue opportunity, which I would like to see more of in our country.
Hey everyone, I just got a video. Actually, I got it yesterday. I'm not going to show the whole video. I'm just going to show a small clip of it. It has to do with something Hillary Clinton says on camera that some of you are just not going to believe. Sadly, though, a lot of the churches are already doing what she is suggesting in this clip. But you got to check this out.
And just last week, speaking at the Women in the World Summit, Democratic 2016 contender Hillary Clinton said this about those who have religious convictions on social issues. Deep-seated cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases have to be changed. Well, we reached out to the White House for any type of clarification or explanation about what the Solicitor General meant in responding to Justice Alito's question. They declined comment.
Yeah, of course they do. But this is the way it is today. And so I hope and pray that those of you that are strong Christians are actually getting your house ready, because you know what time it is. When politicians get out there and actually make statements like this, where they think the people are going to change their religious beliefs in accordance with whatever the politics of the day dictate, well, then you know the majority are going to do that. These guys do demographic research. They know. They know what to say and what not to say in the public eye. And so she's done her research, and she knows she can get away with saying stuff like this. I mean, just look around. Look at the way the churches are acting already. I mean, they're proclaiming everything from Allah is God to homosexual marriage is perfectly okay. So she's not going to have any problem with making statements like this. And a lot of Christians, well, lukewarm Christians, are going to agree with her. Thank you for watching. God bless.
I figured I'd start off with some of the clips from Hillary. In the sense, it seems like the world government it seems like they're just planning on letting her become president. Because why else would they allow her to get out of all of this illegal scams with these emails and everything? I mean, there have been people that gone to prison for just one messed up little thing, and she's not going to jail for like 30,000 emails, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know all the details, but I do know that she is guilty of many crimes, not just the email thing. Benghazi, 4 Americans being murdered for like 8 hours before anybody did anything or said anything. So that right there, and that was on her watch. She was in charge of that. And I just know that she's sold pretty much anything of our government to the highest bidder. That family, the Clintons, are the most corrupt and twisted family. Not saying that our president's not corrupt and twisted either, but the whole thing is just a scam. It's just these people. But the reason why they're allowed to continuously break the law and become lawless is because the United Nations and the world elites all are in it together, and they're looking for basically the most evilest people. So you got to remember that we're coming toward a time when Satan's army is being risen up. Satan's army is not anything Christian. And ISIS is a pawn in that whole thing. They're being used to kill the Christians, and that's what's bringing about the Great Tribulation for the Christians, is ISIS. And basically the governments are looking for a way to start doing it themselves now by making laws that make Christians basically have to break the law because they are trying to follow God. The government is slowly moving toward a system where the Christians are the bad guys, and they already have us on a list. We are considered radical extremists, basically, on their list. I'm going to post something on the Fringianity Underground Facebook page, or group, or whatever one, and it's going to be a list of 72 groups in America that are considered terrorists. And you'll be surprised who's at the top of that list. Because it's not Al-Qaeda. It's not ISIS. No, it's Christians and patriots and people who want to just live free. That's because we're moving toward tyranny. We're going to become Nazi Germany on crack, basically. It's going to be extreme. And this is all talked about in the Bible. We have been warned of this for so long. We've been able to look at Revelation forever. And it's not just in Revelation, it's everywhere. Jesus warned us in Matthew 24. He warned us about all of these things. He even said that the man of lawlessness will reveal himself in the temple in Israel before he's able to come back. He has to be revealed. So there's things that has to happen before Jesus comes back. He just can't just come back at any time. So if you're waiting for the rapture, I don't believe it happens right away. Okay? So you better get prepared. I don't care what your pastor tells you. You need to read your Bible. It says right in the Bible that there's people who lost their heads and that are crying out to God for him to avenge them. And they are given white robes and told to wait a little longer until their brethren are killed the same way, basically. That's right in the Bible. That's in Revelation. I wonder who chopped their heads off in the tribulation, though. Doesn't that sound a little like ISIS?